name is Joshua Vides, and I started a brand called kla-sik that active carries now in all doors, and that was in 2010 when I started the brand. Fast forward 6 years, and we're doing a project together. I mean, it really all started in middle school. I grew up in Rialto, California, which is like maybe 25 minutes from here. So I had a lot of like gangbanger, like graffiti homies, you know, and they started skateboarding, and I was like, what the fuck is this thing, you know, that everyone was getting into? And everyone was like, well, we go to Active, it's in Rancho. And my brother already was like wearing Stussy and stuff, so like, I remember he convinced my mom to like, yo, let's go to this place called Active, and I was like, I gotta go fucking check this shit out. We came, and I remember it was like when DVS, really fat shoes were like still really cool. They're like $80. My mom wasn't making that much money, but I somehow convinced her. Like, I went to school wearing them, and I was like the shit that day, and I was like, oh fuck, like this skateboarding world is like cool, you know, people obviously are like paying attention to it, but that was like my intro into Active. It was skateboarding. I never got good at it, I always sucked at it, and then I got interested in the clothing, and I started wearing like the Active t-shirts, and like the jeans were always like a hit. If I were to say like what really got me to like the position where I'm at today is like what opened my eyes to streetwear, which is the first thing I ever really saw. I came into this, I was already at this location, and this dude named Blev was working here at the time, and he was at the register, and I came in like with my brother, and he was wearing the Hundreds all over Paisley shirt. And I was like, what the fuck is that? And he was like, oh, it's just like new shit we got. Well, I don't even know if we have any left. It's this brand called the Hundreds. I was like, what? And like, where? You know, like, so he walks me over to like the table. It's like crazy pop, like all over print, like gnarly, you know, t-shirts, like yellow, purple, red or something. I remember going to the counter and like buying them, and he was like, oh, it's like $100 or whatever, you know? And I was like, what the fuck? Like, so it's basically double the price. And I was like, what is this? You know, and he's like, oh, it's like these dudes out of LA or whatever. And that's what really got my attention, like started, like, what? There's like this other thing besides $15 t-shirts that say Active on it. You know, like that's literally all I wore were Active shirts. And then like little by little, obviously I'd come in and they'd be like, oh, now we have this thing called Diamond, or we have this thing called, you know, Crooks and Castles, or do, you know. At the time, it was still so young. So I'd go to school and people would be like, what the fuck is that? And I'd be like, I got an Active. And they're like, what? They didn't discover what I discovered in the store, you know. And then like little by little, like people started wearing it, you know, and it became a thing. Got cool with the employees, obviously, you know, I come here so much. I had tried to get a job here, but it was like at the time, the demand to get like an Active job was like, you're like the fucking cool guy. I came here for all of my high school, and it was like the same people working here. 2010, I got caught stealing from Zoomies, and it was like really bad. Like, went to jail. And so at the time, this girl named Amber was working here, which I was really cool with, and she was a manager. And she's like, yeah, you're dope, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know the industry, blah, 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 you know how to sell, like, let's do an interview, you know, in like 2 days. I came, you know, we did the whole thing, and I was like, I want to be manager, and she's like, we don't really have that right now, you could be like assistant, whatever. I started, and everything was like amazing, and she's like, yo, you'll be like an assistant in like 2 weeks, just do your shit, sell some shit, whatever. So I was like hustling, you know. And then like 2 weeks came up, and I was like, yo, what's good? And she was like, hey, I have like some crazy news. I was like, what's good? She's like, I'm leaving, I'm gonna go work for Metrolink. So then Tyler Knotts comes and takes her job. You gotta hustle if you want to get a promotion, you know. And then, you know, maybe like a month later, he calls me and he's like, hey, what's up? I got a call from somebody at Zoomies today. The second he said that, I was like, shit, like word spread, you know. Well, like, I haven't taken anything Active, like we check bags every night. And he was just like, dude, I can't keep you on the team. And I'm like, dude, like, I'm doing so good, you know what I'm saying? Like, my life was like going in a better direction now, you know, like, and I was a van driver for the Hundreds for like a year and a half. That's where it like really started actually bubbling. I actually started meeting people and shit, going to the trade shows and like kind of getting FaceTime with like some of their colleagues and friends and other brands. And obviously at the same time, like kla-sik was building, and I mean, it was still tiny, but it was getting bigger, you know. And now I was like this LA guy opposed to like some kid at Rancho trying to start a brand driving to LA. I left there, went to go work for Seventh Letter, was a brand manager there. Then I left there and I became the marketing and like global sales for SUR, SSUR. And then the Hundreds hired me back again for West Coast sales. And then I quit my job to do kla-sik full-time June 2014. I'm basically just gonna make this brand like a Josh Vides like bubble. And I was like, what do I like? And it's like sex, drugs, sports, good music. So this way I was like, I could hit people that just like music. and I can hit people that like to get fucked up or, you know, whatever. So it's like multiple worlds I can combine and like relate to a brand called kla-sik. Up until today, since the day we started, I designed probably like 99.9% of everything that we still do. If I wouldn't have got that like van driver phone call, or if I wouldn't have got clipped from Active, like who knows what the fuck would be really going on, you know? I've been excited for this all year. I mean, we've done multiple collaborations this year, but this is a little more like a family project. We finally got like the final samples. I think they look great, you know? I think the collection is like well-rounded. Kla-sik is classic and Active's active, and I think what we came together and made and produced, like, you know, there's no questions to be asked about why this is happening or what it is, you know?